Reality Check with Craig Price.
Oh, right. Sorry.
I'm an idiot. 4 minutes in and I'm already wrong. I'm like a monkey. Hello, look at me. Craig, shut up.
Hey, I need you guys to do these things.
You're like a beautiful mind. I'm more like Forrest Gump. So welcome to another Reality Check with Craig Price. Got a great show for you today. Keeping with our entertainment theme, I've got Renaissance man, filmmaker du jour, Sean Thompson. Sean can write it, he can direct it, he can act in it, and I'm sure for a couple extra bucks he will come to your house and he will show it to you. He was a great guy. We go back 15 years back to Cleo's Comedy Theater. Cleo's was a improv sketch troupe based here in Houston. We did it together. I was a kind of an unknown, just starting out guy in comedy doing stand-up. And a friend of mine was in the show, and they said, hey, you'd be perfect for this. And I kind of was, and I kind of wasn't. I had a lot of great experiences at Cleo's, but I also had a lot of butting heads with a lot of different people, and Sean was not one of them. Of all the people I remember at Cleo's, Sean was the most even-tempered and the nicest and most pleasant. And believe me, when I talk about Cleo's Comedy Theater, being even-tempered and pleasant is not the first thing that comes to mind. It is with Sean. Sean was great, very laid-back, very talented, always writing stuff out, always willing to hear people's ideas. Very open, which was kind of off-putting, to be honest with you, at the time, because I was dealing with so many egos and so many divas at Cleo's that it was just kind of seemed odd that there's this guy who's in the middle of it who actually seems to get his stuff together. He actually kind of knows what to do and how to do it and doesn't really panic, and he's just pleasant. And that you can't really say that about a lot of people in entertainment, and I'm glad that he was, because he was really like more of a calming resource at Cleo's, which I certainly appreciated. So I'm really glad that Sean was able to come out on the show to talk about his movie Dick Chairs, hopefully premiering sometime late this summer, early fall. I will definitely keep you updated when that comes out. But I want to make sure you understand that Sean is one of these guys that can really do a lot of different things. He really is a juggler of sorts. And in fact, if we wanted to, I could get a juggler on the show, which for a podcast, not very interesting. The fact that he can spin all these plates, again, another plate spinner, not interesting for the podcast. But the fact that he can do all these things in a multitask in ways that I couldn't even comprehend is just fascinating. So I hope you enjoy Sean Thompson. Last time I saw you, I guess it was 1997.
Yeah, because it was shortly after the Houston Underground first started going after Cleo's. Remember, did the Ovations gig, and then...
Yeah, I did that Ovations gig where Mark Dacus told me I had 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You told me that several times.
I remember.
And I went up, and I was timing it, and then people were like, give me the light, and I'm like, oh, yeah, screw you people. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my 20 minutes.
Remember, that was the same show that the day before Jim Finger said, if you don't give me 45 minutes for my own act, I walk. And I said, bye-bye.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. But yeah, I guess it would be that Ovations deal was the last one. And I really pissed off a lot of people there because I wasn't getting along with that group really anyways.
It was thrown together and because, over a couple of years after that, I kept it going. And we played different venues, bars. And
you were doing corporate stuff, weren't you?
Huh? A bit, yeah. We did that, but we also did nursing homes, hospitals, and bars, and just around. We had a monthly gig at Borders Bookstore, where we actually packed the place.
Wow, you almost lasted as long as Borders. They're gone now.
I know.
But
I have a gift card too.
Yeah, you better. Can you use it?
Well, it's right up there with my Sharper Image gift card.
Oh God, yeah. We bought a tweeter outfit about 6 months before they went under. All brand new, 52-inch television with all the surround sound and all that stuff, and then they're gone.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where the Cleo's. It was 97 because I was gone in 98, and last time I saw you must have been at the Ovations deal, and I didn't get along because with me it was they always said they wanted to have the high standards of Saturday Night Live, and if they had a couple sketches that just kind of fell hard. I think they broke some people's legs. And I'm like, well, we can't do that tonight. Let's just use an old sketch from before, and then we'll work on it over the week, and then we'll be able to debut it next week. Oh, no, the show must go on. Crap does not need to go on. And so I'd get into fights like that. So that's what I had situations. And the one remember I have of you, and my guest today is Sean Thompson. The one remembrance I have of you that always, I tell this story everywhere I go, is the one time I beat you to death with a gun. Do you remember this?
Vaguely. I think I blocked most of it.
Oh, yeah. This was the Goodfellas clowns.
Funny Fellas.
Funny Fellas situation.
That's
We were doing
right.
a sketch. We were doing a sketch at Cleo's Comedy Theater. And I was like the understudy. Mark Dacus was the normal person,
Right.
but I was the only one that, I guess I fit the Italian quotient. I was the token Italian. So they're like, hey, we need some kind of real mafia person. So they had me go up and do it. And I hadn't rehearsed. I mean, I'd rehearsed it, but I hadn't blocked it. So I took that cap gun, and so I walk on and we'd start our lines and we're doing something and I'm supposed to put the gun in my pants. And it slid down my leg and smashed into 4 pieces. Mm-hmm. And then you picked up the pieces real quick, so it's like 2 big chunks landed right at your feet.
Oh, the memory's coming back.
And you slowly, I went on with my monologue and I was talking like, and you slowly put it on the table just to get it out of the way. And I'm sure you're thinking, how the hell are we going to get it? I was thinking that. I'm like, how am I going to end this? Because sketches are horrible to begin with, because most sketches don't have good endings.
Right.
They usually have a great middle or an opening premise into this. And I was like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? And while I'm giving my lines. So I'm doing, what do you think, I'm funny? What am I, a clown to you? Blah, 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 blah. And then that's when I grabbed the gun, because I'm supposed to shoot you at the end. And instead, I grabbed the gun and fake beat you to death.
You beat the snot out of me with that gun.
And that was the one thing I was like, that's the only way you can end it. And then, of course,
And it worked. People thought it was supposed to go that way.
Well, it was a little like, that got dark real quick. And then, of course, as the curtain comes down and the lights go off, you hear someone go, why didn't you just shoot the guy? So, Sean, I have you on because, we've known each other for a long time, haven't been in touch lately because I've been a traveling man.
We've both been way too busy and important to keep in touch with each other.
Well, busy. I don't know. I've moved to 4 states, gotten married, once, still married. And
good on you.
Hey.
I think I got married and divorced twice since our last time.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you. You're
No, just the once. Just the once.
Because you had the.
I had 2 before, so yeah, number 3.
I'm sticking with the one.
Good on you. Good. I like to keep it mixed up.
Well, our 7th anniversary will be probably right around the time this airs.
Wow!
So
congratulations.
Thank you. That in the Hollywood scene,
that's
this is
like 3
deal.
lifetimes.
I know. Well, the reason I brush on is because a lot of people don't understand what goes into acting, not just acting in general. Because I know you do a lot of real acting. Not this. A lot of people go, oh, they act in the community theater, which you do, but you do actual theater.
I do theater.
But you also do a lot of short films. You've won some awards.
Right. Well, actually, I did a feature film that I wrote and was the lead in. That was Jack Everyman. That won a Silver Remmy at World Fest back in '06.
Okay, because that was the one thing that I know you did. And I know you're working on a movie right now.
Right, working on Deck Chairs right now. It's an editing phase, and
I tried to come out as an extra a couple times, but my schedule is just.
I've got some pickups to shoot. Hold on. Yeah.
No, I'm waiting for I'm going to get a cameo and a solo. I want like 3 lines, all me, right up front. I'm waiting for the next one we star in together.
I will write that scene for you.
It'll
Craig.
be a buddy movie.
There we go.
2 balding old guys.
He's
with
a speaker.
goatees.
He's a writer, and they're detectives.
Yeah, I think Fox is going to have that on for a couple of weeks.
I think they did.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't understand what it all takes and where it all comes from. They just think it's, cut, action, go. That's the way directing is, and that's how acting is just pretending, and there's a lot more involved in that. That's why they praise them so much.
Right. They are lauded. Especially with acting, because everyone has their own style. You have your Dustin Hoffmans who immerse themselves into the role, and then you have your Laurence Olivier's who look at Dustin Hoffman and tell him, why don't you just act?
And I think nowadays you're actually going to get more people who are in the pretending mode, because they're dealing with CGI so much. Because I think before you had to feel the whole thing and you had to be in the moment, and you still have to do that. But now you have to pretend that there is
You're running away from a ping pong ball.
Or
literally.
Yeah, but in your mind it's a giant dinosaur. And I know a lot of stage actors have had a lot of hard times doing the translation, except the really creative ones, because the ones with a real wild imagination can do this. But I think it's that I have nothing to react to. How can I be in the moment when it's me and some guy in spandex with ping pong balls?
It's very akin to when silent films went talkie. You had your silent actors who were trained a certain way, how to act and react a certain way, all of a sudden being told you must forget everything you've learned with the overacting, the emoting, and the hands flailing into you may talk, your actual words can convey this instead of your face. And that's why a lot of great actors in the silent era couldn't transition over. And I think a comparable thing's happening right now, where you have your actors from the 70s and the 80s, the 60s.
The De Niros that were hardcore method actors.
Right, getting into it, and now you're being told, no, you got to come in. We have 3 weeks to get this movie shot, so we can get it to post production. They can spend 6 months CGIing everything. So here's a ping pong ball, or Andy Serkis, you're King Kong. Beat your chest and pretend you're hanging.
And Andy Serkis is the king of CGI characters.
He is. He's actually the pioneer of it, I think.
But that's all he does now. It's like he's doing. He did King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
He was Gollum.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's something else that's coming out in the next this year, I think, that they're filming where he is all digital as well.
Yep.
It's just like it's like Hank Azaria is what I call the quintessential voiceover actor.
Yes.
Hank Azaria can do any voice, or can at least, when he's acting, it's so natural. When you hear him speak, it's no matter what character he's
right into it.
You can't hear, like when they have guest stars on The Simpsons, you can always tell, oh, that's the guest star.
Mm-hmm.
With Hank, I think he's the best. Where Andy Serkis is the best physical actor that's doing this now.
He is. He really is.
And so when you translate, because you do a lot of theater,
mm-hmm.
Theater is about projection. I must enunciate to the back row.
Yes, I must show everything and wear heavy makeup. And nowadays, because we're shooting deck chairs, we're shooting it in high def. And it's also kind of a slice of life. So it's like, I don't want the teeth bleached. There's going to be wrinkles and gray hairs and stubble and even down to the dialogue. People would be talking and I get the ums and for the most part I keep it in there. I didn't shoot it cinema verite on like documentary style, but I did want it more of a realistic.
Yeah, I think in my profession where there's a lot of Toastmasters and a lot of people who, I think Toastmasters is great for business people who don't know how to speak in front of groups and they want to get used to it and,
mm-hmm.
and be prepared for it. But I don't think if you want to be a professional actor or a professional speaker, that is the route to go, because that loses a lot of your personality. If you say and you say it's not that big a deal if your personality can overcome that.
Right.
Because I'm an and and I think I gave one of those guys who marks you.
Oh yeah.
Carpal tunnel one time.
The bell ringers. Yeah. No, I cheated. I joined Toastmasters to meet women and became area governor actually of Toastmasters.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh good. I'm glad I crapped on it right in front of you. but I can automatically tell a Toastmasters. It's like you can tell a method actor, you can tell
mm-hmm.
where they've been studying. Because of Toastmasters, they have a cadence, they have a rhythm. Their story may be different, and their story may be unique and great.
But it's within 5 minutes, because that's what they've been trained.
Well, some of these people get paid to speak for an hour. It's just that there's a cadence, there's a timing. There's a pause, there's a way of doing it, which drove me crazy. So when you translate from theater to film, what do you think are the two biggest issues you've got to deal with?
One is it is exactly opposite. You're diametrically opposed in theater, as you said. You're throwing yourself out there, you're projecting, you're, giving the big face. It's like the silent acting, but, with vocal. And with film, you have to downplay everything. The last thing you want to do is project. You'll bleed the ears of your sound guy, or it'll get overwrought. Well,
I think it shows as like hammy.
Very hammy.
All of a sudden you're Adam Sandler back in the early 90s.
Bingo. And another major difference between theater and film acting is theater is on the spot.
Well, it's live.
It's live. I mean, and think back to our improv days. What was the number one rule of improv? Never say no.
Well, that's another problem I had. And I talked I had some improv people, Chris and Tim O'Shea, who are friends of mine who speak for a living, and they do a lot of improv. And I was an ad-libber, which is different than improv. Improv has rules, and
right.
And that was the other problem I had with that group. I had a lot of problems with that group.
The rules, you're just
I just didn't. I was a film studies person, so I knew what kind of things I wanted to talk about. I knew the angles. I knew how to block. I knew how to do all that stuff. The acting part was just It was like, send Craig out there and he acts like a monkey, or send Craig out there dressed as Prince. Or send Craig out there dressed as the Swiss Miss.
Oh, your lounge lizard outfit was my favorite.
The one with the bad toupee?
The bad toupee, which, I hate you because you still got all your hair. Oh, please.
Oh, I know you have it. Yes, you've got an 8 head. I've got a 6 head. So, and guess what? You're older than I am, though. You're like 40.
I'm
40-something.
45.
Yeah.
Grandfather of 2 now.
Jeez.
I know. It's been 14 years.
Well, I've got nieces that, are hitting 18 and 16, so it's like...
Doesn't that mess you up?
It screws me up big time.
My niece is 16, and I cannot wrap myself around this.
But at 45, I'm going to be less, because I know I've got a brother and a father, and I've seen the cue ball shine that they've got. My dad's got what we call Atmos hair. You can see to the planet's surface. It doesn't really cover much up.
I want to kill the person who's changing all my mirrors to photos of my father, so every time I look in the mirror, I see him looking back at me.
I see more of my brother, because I guess it's because we've got more shared DNA than just my dad. We got my mom, so... But it's one of those things where yesterday I was in Louisville and I was getting ready and I was looking at the hair and it was tough it wasn't looking right because I look like I have a toupee at all times. I've got Marv Albert hair, which is where that character came from, the Lounge Lizard. I put that toupee on there and that's who I was playing was Marv Albert at the time.
That fits now.
Yeah, then you put it all together. I'm like, he was a weatherman, and then I was like, how cheesy the weatherman is, and then there was a really bad gray toupee on my dark black hair at the time. Because now I'm starting to get gray. But I was looking at the hair and going, you know what? If it would just all fall out, it'd be so much easier to me to handle right now. And I'm thinking about this summer. I think I might cut it short, the Matt Lauer, just to see what that looks like.
You're going to try it? Let me know how that works for you, because I'm just too chicken.
My dad still has the 4 horrible strands, and my grandfather's got a snow cone when the wind blows. It's like he takes his hat off and
I won't go that
hair.
far. I'll wear it with pride.
I'm sure the bald people are happy about this, but but we'll get back on topic because we can talk about being bald and going bald for hours. David Newman and I did that for as well. But the thing is that with theater, with the improv thing, I never really got the grasp of it. Do you like to film improv?
I tell the actors whenever.
'Cause you're a writer, so I figured you might be real beholden
a lot
to the
of
word.
writers are. You get like your Neil Simons of the world because I'm a playwright and a novelist and a screenwriter, so you got all 3. You got your Neil Simons of the world that you do not mess with. It's in the rules.
Or
you don't
Mammoth.
Change their plays. Or Mammoth.
We'll
Yeah,
update it a little bit.
Yeah, or Mammoth. But actually, Neil Simon plays. It's in the contract. You may not change this. You may not change the language or anything. Or there are some writers that you don't want to change what they do. Aaron Sorkin.
Oh yeah,
I think the man's dialogue god.
West Wing and
West
Facebook.
Wing, Social Network, all these wonderful,
Facebook,
the
Social
Facebook
Network,
movie. Yeah, I didn't realize it was him until I watched the opening scene. I didn't know that he'd written it, but I'm on an airplane flying to Australia. I'm watching the movie, and that opening scene where he's talking with his girlfriend. And I thought, my God, that's Aaron Sorkin. You can just tell his dialogue is very zippy back and forth.
He's actually in the movie.
Is he really? Does he have another one of those cameos?
Yeah, he's interviewing the 2 guys, and he's Zuckerberg character is falling asleep.
You're okay.
Yeah, I have a knack for that. My wife's like, he can identify anybody, and it's like I can. My wife can't. She's like, is that Emmanuel Lewis? I'm like, that's Emmanuel Lewis is 4'2" and black. That is an Asian woman. So she doesn't see. That's good. She's like Stephen Colbert. She can't see race. She can't see height. She can't see thing. She's horrible.
All human.
But I can hear somebody on television. I go, that's Patrick Stewart. Or I can hear somebody and I go, oh, Tim Allen. He's doing all these Home Depot commercials all of a sudden.
And with it, you can hear someone's writing style behind them. You can hear Sorkin. It's like Jim Steinman, who wrote a lot of Meatloaf songs. You can tell Jim Steinman wrote this particular song just by listening to it. Celine Dion did, when you kiss me like that, that song, that's Jim Steinman. He's got this feel to him. But with the, as I was talking about, a lot of writers or authors don't want their words messed with. I actually am quite the opposite. As I tell whoever I cast, if it's not rolling naturally off your tongue, it's not rolling naturally off your character's tongue. As long as you get the gist of it, and if there's something that has to be said a certain way, I'll let you know. Until then, go with it. And I tell you, I get some of the best performances out of actors left and right because they can delve into the character more. I know you can read, and usually when I audition people, I don't give them a script to read.
Oh, good, because I've been to a lot of horrible auditions.
I hate cold readings. Because you're reading like this, and this is, podcast, so you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm holding paper up in front of my face and reading this off.
And of course, they've got a headshot that doesn't look like them, so you got a picture that doesn't look like them, and then you can't see their face, and they're talking like they don't normally talk.
And so I'll just have them start engaging in conversation. And
so you interview them?
For the most part. Now, only twice has that bitten me where, they're just wonderful, and I cast them, and then the second the camera's on them, something happens.
I believe the camera is now on.
Oh my God, yeah.
They get that stone face
and
look.
You do the whole, okay, let's not record this take, tape over the little red recording light, and they can sense it. It's like dogs smelling fear. They can sense that the camera's on them. And,
Well, let's start about the process, because being a writer, because we'll get into some casting. But so with Deck Chairs, give us a brief, quick synopsis of what it's about, and then where did that idea come from?
It's a comedy about the ending of relationships.
Which apparently, after you've confessed, is something you're familiar with.
After my third divorce, right? You know.
Just keep digging at it, Craig. Just keep digging at it.
Sooner
I'm
or
sorry.
later, no. Sooner or later, I'm going to get it right. I'm sure of this. You know, I've got.
At least you can process the pain.
Yeah, that's good. Well, the previous movie, Jack Everyman, I'll give you a Reader's Digest version. My novel, a film director had read my novel, and I was working on this movie set that he did not know I was the author of this novel, and he was talking to me about it. And I'm getting a kick out of this, thinking this guy's talking to because it's the first time we'd met, and he's like, I'd love to meet this guy because I want to do a movie of it. And I said, really? He's like, yeah, I mean, just like this scene right here, and he showed me this chapter in the book, so I asked to borrow a pen, and I autographed it for him. And he's like, oh, how can I do this movie? And I'm like, well, we'll turn it into a screenplay. In order to finance that movie, he wanted me to write like a little cheapo slasher, local thing. And that's how you usually build up some money to get something. You do a calling card movie or a project, and that gives you some seed money for the next one. And I said, okay, give me like 3 weeks, and I'll write something quick and easy to film. And I'm sitting in front of my computer for 3 weeks with total writer's block.
Because you have to do something.
Nothing's coming. With performance anxiety of the nth degree, and I'm thinking, oh my God, here I am, this divorcing middle-aged writer with writer's block against a deadline. What the hell am I going to write about? Hey, I can write about...
You did a Charles Kaufman.
I did indeed, and it worked. It turned into a full-length feature film. I called him like a month later and said, "This is not a short film anymore." And we went on, filmed it, got great cast. No one else wanted to play the lead role. They probably read about the obligatory nude scene in it, so I got cast.
Oh yeah,
I
would have passed on that as well.
Well,
I would have got a butt double or a nude double.
Well, thank God for duct tape. That's all I'll say. But that was a one-take shot right there. It's like, okay, clear the kitchen. My character had to have a mental breakdown on the floor, and it was kind of a rebirth scene, so he had to be naked. And so when I got cast in this, I'm thinking, I cannot write myself out of this. I am hosed.
Can't I just do it in boxers or briefs or something?
I did ask that, and the director said no, because if you were anyone else, I'd be saying the same thing. So, available from Amazon.com.
What's the name of the book?
Well, this is the movie, Jack Everyman.
Okay. And what was the book that he wanted to...
Time Crossed.
Time Crossed, because that was a science fiction novel.
It was time travel romance,
Yeah.
And which actually I wrote it as a science fiction, but it hit big with the romance market. Go figure.
I have no idea. None of my books have hit big anywhere in any division. So, so you basically Hollywood, which a lot of people don't understand, is really a barter system.
Yes.
They don't really understand that it's like, it's not, here's a couple $1 million, go do your deal. It's here, you need to come write for me because I don't have time. So you're going to do something. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I will now leverage your dream. Mm-hmm. So you will, because everyone always fights for their dream in Hollywood. So I can get my stuff done, and then maybe if we have time, we'll go back to yours, because it doesn't always work that way. You get lucked out.
Right.
And so, how was that, when the final product, since it was basically not you directing it, it was you writing it, but then if it's you writing it, and if it's you starring in it, but it's not you directing it, how does that feel? I mean, how does it match up with what you wanted?
A comfort level, with writing, as I'm sure you know, there comes a level where they call it killing the baby. It's where you have to let go of the book, where no more drafts, no more fix, no more tweaks, and it's as hard as killing your own baby, which is why we call it killing the baby. And same thing with film. It's, I wrote it, I was reluctantly cast in the lead for it, but with the director, it was his movie at that point. And turning it over to him actually was kind of fun. Because a lot of authors or writers or playwrights or whatever can't let go of it, and a lot of them, they'll write something and then they'll have to direct it to get that vision just perfect. I get off on someone's perspective. In fact, with Time Crossed, when the publisher was asking me, what I wanted for the cover, I said, surprise me, because I knew what I had in my mind.
Yeah, because you're also not a marketer,
right?
You're not a cover designer. And these publisher, I don't know which publisher you use, but that's their business.
That's what they did, and because I'd always gone dramatic with it, because Time Crossed originally was a stage play that I transferred into a novel, which really opened it up. And, just the the scope of it just grew exponentially, but it was always very dramatic. And when they sent me the proof of the cover, it was actually funny. It was comedic almost. It had, I won't describe it, but it was just the last thing I would have chosen myself, but it fit perfectly.
Yeah, because you get too close to it.
Exactly.
I talk about this it's not killing your baby, but I think some people look at their babies and they don't see the flaws in it, or they don't see it from the perspective of everybody else. Like my book, my publisher wanted to be a self-help book. Mm-hmm. And now everybody I talk to thinks it's a business book, but the publisher felt that it would do better in self-help, which he was wrong. So I can say that now because it's been out for a while. But it's like you take their other perspective from someone else, because you get so close to it, you don't see it maybe as a comedy because you were so in part with the time travel maybe and all the other stuff aspects that you really missed all the comedic romance.
And again, my publisher showed great foresight that it hit the romance market, and I got very lucky that it was released right around the same time as The Time Traveler's Wife, the Audrey Niffenberger novel. I hope I pronounced her name right.
That's all right.
But it was
big. They can Google it.
It was big in the chick-lit market, and back then Amazon said, if you like this book, you'll like that book. And so my book got tied into The Time Traveler's Wife for like a month, where it was, you buy Time Traveler's Wife, get Time Crossed for half off. And
you just piggybacked on their success.
I piggybacked
you
shamelessly. I coattailed that puppy and loved every moment of it. So that helped me out.
So with Deck Chairs, it's about the endings of relationships.
Right. I jokingly call it the anti-love actually. And I got that. I'd like to take full credit for it, but I can't. My sister, who's a lawyer and it's been like my number one support, along with Mom. Hi, Mom, because I know they're all listening or will be. They'll have to.
Don't worry, only my mom is listening at the moment.
Okay, hi, Craig's mom. How's it going? He's doing great. He's such a good boy, he is. He really is.
I appreciate the lying in front of her. So your sister helped you out in what way?
She actually called me one day, and she's a lawyer, and she's done a lot of family law pro bono, and this was after my third divorce, which was that was the bad one. I've had the good, the bad, and the ugly, and this was the ugly one. And she's like, we've built up all these stories, and from what I've dealt with in family law and what you've lived through, I think there could be a movie there where the central character is a divorced lawyer. And so she gave me a couple of character ideas, kind of loosely based on real life or not, just, things she'd encountered. And I took that and ran with it. So I gave her like half story credit because something maybe down the line I would have come up with a similar story, but not in what she approached me with. And, came up with, different storylines based on my life or people's lives that I knew, or just outright fiction, because I love mixing the fact and fiction. I even have a character called Roman à clef, which is a play on words, because a roman à clef is a literary device which mixes fact with fiction.
Oh, there you
go. So it's kind of my little nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Oh, you writers and your puns.
I know, we were so pompous and just,
You're so punny. You're such a wordsmith. You twist the words around.
So cunning.
The Will Ferrell character is like D'Angelo something. It's like, no one would name their person D'Angelo, especially not Will Ferrell. I mean, you look at him and it's like his name is so outrageous, and I guess they're gonna have all these characters with their outrageous names. But writers love that. That's when they're real creativity. I gotta get him up with a name, Winston Somerville or something. It's like there's no such person.
The one of the great fantasy characters is Thomas Covenant, and it's like, who names their kid Covenant?
Well, that's the last name, so that's a family name. That's apparently they were the Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're the Ark of the Covenant.
There you go. Call them Ark.
So you get the idea down, and so how long does it take you to really? Do you flesh out an outline first, or because I'm a go. I have an outline in my head, but I don't really write it down. Which is why sometimes when I was writing fiction, it really does take on a life of its own, and actually it was usually better that way because maybe I had an idea of where I wanted to end, but the journey was so wacky from what I was thinking originally, because I was just writing as I went, and I'm writing myself into a corner.
Oh yeah, isn't that fun?
Oh yeah, and then you got to find what kind of logical thing that's not too crazy that people will actually buy that actually would happen, and then you got to try to pull that out.
Try writing time travel, because oh my god,
paradoxes and all that stuff.
Paradoxes, because I've always hated in like time travel movies. Hey, I'll go back 10 minutes and fix the world. No, I'm going to go back 10 years with every lottery number known to mankind.
You just need the one. Just get the big one.
Yeah, but because if you go with one, then something's going to dramatically happen to stop that from happening. I'm going to invent the ball bearing. Okay, I'm going to go back to like 5 BC, or I'm going to patent, the silicon chip, something really important. So I always hated that in time travel movies.
But they did insignificant things in time travel because they're afraid of creating paradoxes.
Well, there's that, or they say, well, I'm going to go back 10 minutes. No, go back 10 years.
Right, because they're afraid if they just do 10 minutes, they're just going to change that one thing. But you want to be dramatic. You want to change a lot of stuff. You would be the one that went back and blew Hitler's brains off.
Actually, that plays a big part in the story.
Oh, does it? See?
Yeah,
so you are that kind of guy.
Wants to give. Actually, yeah. If you could actually go back in time and like do stuff,
not smother him as a baby because you wouldn't get any credit for that.
No.
You got to come back and blow his brains out in front of a big audience,
bunches of people, and what actually that happens.
I could have wrote that book.
I'm telling you, see,
I haven't even read it yet.
Someone beat
I'm gonna have to read
it.
that one. It's like, hey,
well, I ended up
just like Hollywood. He stole my idea.
Dang it.
It's always like that. Someone's always like, I have the same idea. That's why they always have like asteroid movies, and they have 2 asteroid movies.
Asteroid movies, I know.
They had, what was the other 2 that they came out at the same time? They always have like disaster movies come out that's right, they had the 2 volcano movies came out at the same time.
Yes.
The 2 Kill Hitler movies.
The 2 helicopter story, Airwolf and Blue Thunder.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're going way back. Sure.
I'm old, man. I'll go all the way back.
But that's that thing. So you're into that bold. That's like, don't screw around with the last 10 minutes. Go back and change everything.
Right. And, well, so with that writing process, I actually used index cards. They worked for me a lot. And my wall was I had index cards thumbtacked to the wall with strings because I had to make sure what would happen. Sloppy writing, I hate sloppy writing. On Star Trek, you could always tell when the crewman was going to die because Sulu was in the bathroom and not in the bridge.
Oh,
so you know that this guy's going to die.
It's always during his break. It's like,
exactly.
Hey, union rules, got to take a break, and then that guy's going to die.
When I was, one of my earliest memories, I'll do a quick Star Trek story. It was like, I was like 6 years old, I think, and one of my earliest memories was watching Star Trek, and like original run, I think. And Sulu's stuck on this planet, and he's going to freeze to death, but they can't beam him up because the transporter will split him into good and evil. That's already happened to Kirk, and they're all freaking out.
He'll get a goatee.
Exactly. And I'm 6 years old, and I just distinctly remember asking myself, why don't they send down a shuttlecraft, which they just used the episode before? Or why don't they beam him down coffee? If it gets split into good and evil, the
or
evil's
a blanket.
Decaf, or blankets, exactly. And I'm 6, and so back at that time, I realized that there was sloppy writing, and right after that, I actually read A Wrinkle in Time, and Madeline Longo's.
Yeah.
And that, I wanted to make a movie out of that. Again, I'm 6 years old. I read that book, and like, one day I want to make this into a movie. And so the seeds were formed back then. And I got very lucky that when I was 7, I was actually a guest columnist for a newspaper in San Diego. And with parents
what the hell goes on out there in California? You're like a 7-year-old guest columnist?
In the 70s, so, because
talking about afros and free love and drugs and don't go to the Club 57, all that stuff.
All 7 years of me, and I'm doing all that. I know, I was very ahead of my time. So I got very lucky that, parents supported the writing.
How long were you doing? Guy, Barry's the lead every time I see you. Every time I talk to you, it's always, hey, yeah, this is going, oh, yeah, I was a newspaper reporter when I was 7 at an actual paper. So how long were you doing that for?
Oh, only a few months, because shortly after that we moved to Japan. I was a Navy brat, so we moved to Japan.
Were you doing it for the Navy-based paper?
No, I was doing it for the San Diego Evening Tribune. I've still got the letter from Fred Kinney. I remember his name just out of the blue. Fred Kinney was the editor, and somewhere I've got a scrapbook where it's, Dear Sean, thank you so much for your submission.
Was it a column or was it a?
It was a few.
Okay,
a few. It wasn't like Dear Abby by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I wrote more than Salinger. So.
Okay, so more than one. Good
more than one, but less than
2.
Right.
You had a blurb one time. They just had a review. This is great. So now with deck chairs, because like I said, when do you expect that one to come out?
I'm editing it now. I'm going to shoot a couple of pickups. I anticipate having, within the next 3 months, my cast and crew is all breathing a sigh of relief hearing this. The next 3 months having a premiere, like Family and Friends premiere, where we'll grab a screen.
That means I won't have to record another one. I'll just replay this one when it's out.
Hey, I'm all over that, yeah.
Saves me.
Deck chairs at your theater.
This is like 2 in 1. I'm just doing 2 podcasts. Two. I'm so lazy. The casting process, now who did you pick? Mostly the people you knew, you worked with before? Did you meet any strangers in this?
I met a lot of strangers.
Because I know directors have a tendency of leaning on the same people unless it's like a biopic where they have to pick that person who is going to fill that body. Like we need
I need an 8-foot tall hunchback with a lateral lisp.
Something like that.
Right.
Or I can't think of her name. The one who did she was Amelia Earhart.
Oh, Hilary Swank.
Yeah. It's like, well, because I saw Amelia Earhart, not a looker. Hilary Swank can be a looker, but also she can also play a boy playing a girl. So they were like, well, but when you saw a picture of her and you saw a picture of Amelia Earhart, you could see that you got a good actress, but you got someone who physically looked the role.
Right. If you have someone playing Elvis Presley, you're not going to cast a blonde or
me.
Or us,
yeah.
Right?
Short Jewish guys, maybe, but Elvis, no, not going to happen.
I gotta say, one time I was casting a play where I was supposed to be an Italian construction working womanizer. Now, okay, womanizer I'll take, but Italian and construction working, again, this is a podcast, so you can't see that I'm 5'6" and squishy.
Yeah, well, that's Italian. You could do the Italian, but you don't.
I'm talking like this, and it's not even my language.
Well, where were you? Where were you doing the?
This is a country playhouse here in theater, Little Black Box.
Yeah, see, in Houston they don't know what Italians sound like, so they.
Okay, it's like the British accent.
Yeah, they love me because they go, oh, he sounds so and I'm like, I'm not even doing an Italian accent. Wait till I start talking like I've got my parents coming on the phone. Hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh wow, they get all crazy, and even if you're just doing a fake one, they don't even know. So with that, you're doing a lot of auditions with people you don't know. Right.
Jack Everyman, the previous movie, we had some auditions, and I met some people that it was an amazing cast on that, very small scale. And so some of I made sure to invite most everyone.
You gave him a shot, at least.
Oh, absolutely, but I don't like pre-casting. And in fact...
So you're not Kevin Smith or Martin Scorsese, who now has switched from De Niro to DiCaprio.
Yeah, he loves just DiCaprio, doesn't he?
But there's people who always pick the same kind of crew, because I guess there's the comfort level.
There is. You bounce off each other. You had, back in the day, you had your Hepburn and Tracy's, and people think about, Tom Hanks was in 4 or 5 films with Meg Ryan.
Oh, sure. And then the old Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor movies.
Pryor, yeah, several of those.
Apparently they never talked after. I mean, they were friendly, but they never talked except when they were on the set. So and you would think that they were best buddies because they did so many movies together.
Good chemistry on that one.
But it was just a matter of they just made money, so that's why they kept on doing the movies together.
Yeah. So when Dexter's, when I was auditioning, in fact, we were auditioning in this very building that we're recording this.
And I have to say, this is the first time we're on a location. So if we sound a little echoey, it's because I feel like we're at an AA meeting, but we're in a little, it looks like a Sunday school room at the bottom of a church. Where there's there's a play being rehearsed as we speak.
Right. Yeah. There's a play going on upstairs. I'm president of the board for Upstage Theater, and so I get to abuse my power as president of the board and take over the theater whenever I feel like it to record a podcast.
There you go. So we'll get back on topic because I just keep yanking you. Don't feel like you have to stay on topic either.
This is like a very special episode.
Yeah, it's just I haven't seen you in so long. We just go on these
I know
tangents.
We're catching up. Wake up, people! There will be prizes at the end of this.
Maybe you can get a book from you. Maybe.
There you go.
Do you still have any laying around?
I'm sure I do somewhere.
I got lots of books laying around. I'd be glad to give everybody a book. If only people would email me and tell me, hey, I actually listened. So with Deck Chairs, you have the big cast. Because I remember the casting call.
Yeah,
I was thinking
90 people in this.
Oh, I was thinking about going, but then I realized, I haven't acted in 10, 12 years, except when I do some things here and there, but very rarely. So I was like, and I know you've got friends in the theater, so it's like, hey, let's go try out for the Red Sox. No, I don't think that's going to really work right now. When I'm 37 out of shape, I'm going to be winded just walking in. So I was like, I'll wait and let's see what's going on, and maybe I'll abuse my friendship later on, which I never did. But I saw the big casting call, so we had 90 people come in.
Well, no, that's in the cast.
Oh, that's the cast is 90 people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many people showed up for auditions then?
I had about 75. And I got picked up extras as I went along.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, I actually wrote an extra scene because there's this one local actor named Lance Marshall. I'm going to plug him because he was recently voted Houston's #1 actor. And he's actually just moved back out to New York now. He's an amazing actor. In the last movie, Jack Everyman, he played, I was the main role and he was like the secondary role. He played my character's gay nanny and just tore the role up. I mean, it was wonderful. And so when I found out he was available, He's like, I want to be in your movie somewhere. And I'm like, I don't have a role for you. So I wrote a scene, a poker playing scene, where I said, okay, you're going to be.
That's the one that's on the.
Yeah, the one I posted on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the one that's posted on. You can take a look at. It's pre-production. That's the. It has the
right to rough cut. Nothing's been prettied up on it. Although I think a new version of it has the music. So the music. Let me segue real quick. Ruben Ybarra did the music for this film for Deck Chairs. And again, when he was asking me, what do you want it to sound like? And I said, You've seen some scenes. I'd like to hear what you think it should be. And he went in a direction that, again, I never would have gone, but by golly, it works so wonderful. He made it more dramatic than what I'd intended, the music.
Well, that's like the why when you find one, you stick with him, because I mean, I'm sure you'll use him again if he's even available.
I've got blackmail on him. So
yeah, like John Williams is a master, and he's one of those things where everything he does, no matter what movie he does, is amazing. I mean, even in the crappy ones, like Always, with Richard, it was all right, but that wasn't that great a movie. It
was on Holly Hunter, right?
There was Holly Hunter and Richard Dreyfuss, and I think it even had Audrey Hepburn, an older Audrey Hepburn in it, and it's about ghosts and it was a Spielberg movie. But the music was awesome in it. It was amazing in it. And even the Harry Potter stuff that he's doing now is still great. I mean, it's amazing.
And you can always tell John Williams, much like with writing the dialogue, or
because it's good.
You hear some bars, and it's like, oh, that's John Williams.
Well, before we go, because we've only got about 5 or 10 minutes left, because we got the casting somewhat down, because you did the big casting call. You decided not to pick people that you knew. You went with the best talent, kind of like drafting for football. You just went with the best people on the board. Right,
and it does kill you sometimes with casting, because someone can give like this amazing performance, but it doesn't fit a bigger picture. Because when you're casting a play or a movie, you're taking height into consideration. You're taking voices into consideration. And I had some characters, again, that I had this one gal that came in and read for 2 roles that they weren't quite her roles for her, but she blew me away so much that I actually created a character for this actress. And she's actually in that same poker scene movie. She plays the adult daughter of the character. I wrote, because to not have put her in the movie would have been a waste of that talent.
Right, and he was like, I need her in there.
I had
just
to
like
have
with
her
Lance. I've got to do something.
It's like, you're available and you have a night available. I'm going to write a scene. You're going in there, and thank you very much.
Something drops in your lap, you got to take it. You just can't say, oh well, that'd be great, but I can't.
Right.
Find a way. So, and you find a way, because I mean, this is not a big studio movie.
No, and that's we were talking before we started rolling about, this is the new frontier. The studio films that you can make a film for $50,000 or $5,000 or $2,000. Jack Everyman, I won. Thought I was going to win for low budget. I didn't. I won for best first feature. But that movie, literally, we could have remade 50 times, and it still would have been legally low budget.
Yeah, because it was so cheap.
I like to say shoestring budget, but we couldn't afford the shoestrings.
Well,
and same thing with with Deck Chairs. This film has been made purely from the money in my pocket, and I'm a divorced single dad who just bought a house, so there's not a lot of money in that pocket.
A lot of lint.
A lot of
wrappers.
So a lot of handshakes, a lot of
barter.
Oh, absolutely barter, and that's big. That's big. And
without naming names, what was the weirdest barter you had to do to get this thing done?
Without naming names.
Well, you can name if you want to, but
compromising positions.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want you to put in a position where that person.
No, actually, a funeral home. It wasn't a barter so much. Well,
yeah. Can I take this dead guy and I will give you some craft services?
Never underestimate the power of I'll put you in my film as a special thanks. But actually, the Heights Funeral Home, they had 12 hours to set up a scene for me, because one of my actors was moving to Los Angeles like that night, and so I called up this funeral home and going, look, I'm a filmmaker, I've got to do the scene, I have to have a coffin, and they had me totally taken care of. And I said, all I can offer you is special thanks in the end credit and a cameo if you want it. And these people were great.
Did they take the cameo?
No, they didn't, but they did offer, as I was setting up the shot, they asked how cool my cast was. I said, why? They said, because one of us can hide in the casket and pop out. I was this tempted.
Now you'd have to have a nice establishing shot with the name of
it. We did that with Jack Everyman. We filmed it locally. I think Houston is the third coast for films by far.
Rushmore was all Houston.
Rushmore,
beautiful.
The Chase, just more and more films are being shot out here. It's everything you need is in Houston to make a major motion picture. I firmly believe
you can go to certain neighborhoods and it can for a block be any city.
Yeah.
As long as you don't look up and see, because there may not be skyscrapers, but that first 2 floors, if you shoot it just right.
Absolutely. And so I use all local talent, all local locations and services. Jack Everyman, we shot at a hospital, Pauly Ryan Hospital, and now it's Oak Bend Hospital. We shot at the Buffalo Grill, and in return, it was like, I can't pay you anything, but I'll make sure Buffalo Grill is prominently displayed in our establishing shot. Rice Epicurean markets, just all these locations, and same thing with the people. It's like everyone signed on to both of these movies with, look, this may make money, it may not. We're doing it for love, and everyone signed up for that, and that's why the cast out here are amazing.
Last thing before we go, this is the last thing. What's after this? You got Deck Chairs coming out in a couple months. What's your next project?
Deck Chairs. Well, I'm thinking about 2 more movies. That I'm kind of percolating around. I also wrote
anything for a short, debonair personality,
absolutely,
who has not very good looking but can ad lib.
God bless Paul Giamatti for giving guys like us hope.
Steve Buscemi.
Oh my God,
I get that all the time.
You know what? We could be like Buscemi and Giamatti.
We should do that. We should just find out what movie they're going to come out with, and we'll make a low budget version of that.
I am all over that. We can Swedishize.
I'm telling you, I will clear my schedule. Not that I really have to, but you got 2 movies in mind.
2 movies in mind, and a book. Being 3 times divorced and still having a good sense of humor about it. I also teach a workshop for divorcing parents once a month. It's, hey, if you've been in the trenches, go.
I certainly hope. I'm not a parent, and I'm not. Hopefully, I will never be divorced. So hopefully, I won't see you in.
Hopefully not. But my next door neighbor did. I bought a house and when moved in. My next door neighbor said, "Hey, I was just at your workshop last weekend." Small world, but a funny guide for divorcing guys.
And lastly, if someone wanted to contact you, because I know you do some freelance writing for businesses as well. Where can someone find you if they really want to look for you?
Well, I got 2 easy ways to get in touch with me that don't involve my phone number. One is I have a website, which I really need to update, but it's timecrossed.com, and that does not have a second E. It's TIME, time, CROSSD.
No E.
No E, because the book has an apostrophe, and of course the internet doesn't allow you to have apostrophes.
Okay.
They're star-crossed lovers, they're time-crossed lovers. That's where that whole came from.
Okay.
Or I have an email address. Sean, SEAN, like Connery or Penn, _K _ Thompson with an H and a P at hotmail.com.
Well, Sean, I appreciate it. It's great seeing you.
Craig, this is wonderful.
And I want to keep talking to you, but we've run out of time. We're at the 45.
We can do a 2-parter, a very special 2-part episode, like a cliffhanger.
Like a very special.
I'm going to kill you. Okay, now cut now.
I want to thank Sean for coming on the show. Spoiler alert, he did not kill me. I'm still here. If you have questions, comments, you can always email me at craig@speakercraigprice.com. You can always find the show at realitycheckpodcast.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. You can join us on the RSS feed. You can go to iTunes and subscribe there. Any way you want to get us, you can find us. There's no excuse. Have a great week.